Exactly.
Let me make sure I've got volume up. Oh,
We should all just start a Congo line.
okay. I think we're good.
Got 2 gas cards in my pocket. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. What's that? Man, there's a lottery with that. No pressure. You draw, okay? Jackie Baker.
See, you had that earlier in the elevator.
Very glad to have you. We've got some faces. This is the last one. So, here's what we're gonna do, because there's so many completing, I'm gonna let y'all work on your post paperwork. I'll talk to the class about protective factors, then we'll all come together to do this, okay? That way y'all aren't trying to listen and do your paperwork at the same time. It doesn't just too much.
Big screen.
Get him, Gary.
Well,
Get him, Gary.
are we being watched? Being recorded? Are we being recorded?
Yeah, we're being recorded. I got your best coming through you. Right, and I'm glad we're all on here.
Whenever. Yeah, exactly. I took off the extra.
What you did to the car on that is. I got it now, I got it. It worked out better. Like I wanted my own time, I didn't have my car, but I found some aluminum with like rim for freaking $140 piece of tires on it. So I got it over. Call it out one right now. Check it on that 4-1 Yeah. When I filled the tank the first time, I had to put it down. I can put there. They're coming out paperwork. We're gonna go over this. You playing cheese?
Here you go.
It's Amanda.
Yeah, give me credit. That was funny.
Okay, if it gets cold, it gets like hard to find cheese, right? Y'all get cold like it all crazy.
Which room is either too hot or too cold one? There is no middle.
No. Yeah.
Well,
Did you hear me a while ago? I said a while ago, when I first filled this out, I had to put single, not prepared. See? How quickly things change, huh? Okay. So. Thank you. Everybody sign the book?
That's not what's there.
Oh, Ashley. Come here. No. Okay. Oh, you got to put it in your name. Okay. Maybe it can help you. 26. Okay. So, we got our 5 protective factors. Amanda, what does that very first one say? Parental resilience. Mhm, very good. Leslie, what's the next one say? What's the next one say? What's the next one say? What's the next one say?
Social and emotional competency.
Somebody dropped one for you. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Okay, so what that is, so all families need protective factors. Okay? And for those of y'all who live in halfway house, I want y'all to think about this for a second. The very first, skip the first one for a second. Social connections. One perk of living that way is what? You have a support group. Right? Versus if you were living somewhere all by yourself. You have someone that's gonna notice if you're having an off day. They are going to notice like maybe something's wrong, right? Those social connections are very important because that can help us stay on track with what it is we need to do in the morning, right? Because they're gonna keep us in check. Okay. So, concrete support in times of need. What does that say to you, Robin? What is concrete support in times of need? Right, it's dependable, okay? Yep, so how many of you can think of at least one person that would be considered like your rock? Concrete. So, that is within our sobriety, right? So now let's take it into our children. Concrete support in times of need. You have an emergency. You are sitting there on the edge with your employment and you get a call from the school that your child is sick. You know, if you have to leave work, what's probably gonna happen? You're gonna get fired. So if we have a concrete support system, one we can depend on, then we can sit there and make a call and say, what? Hey, can you go pick up little Jane from school? So then you get to keep your employment. You know, little Jane can get to the doctor, get home, rest, whatever she needs, and it does not have a completely adverse effect on family members. Because those things can have a severe adverse effect. It's a lot of pressure. Parents are under a lot of pressure. You know, especially when we know we're on those fine lines. So, parental resilience. What does that mean? You gotta be able to go ahead.
You gotta be able to get through anything, period, regardless of the time.
Right. And not just get through it, but get through it positively, helpfully. So I'll use myself as an example. Yeah, push you next. On that, so parental resilience. So I have no biological children, but my husband has 3 children from a previous marriage. They're grown. We also have a grandbaby. Okay, so I'm a parent. Even though you don't have to birth them to be a parental figure, right? So parental resilience. So as they're growing up, now they're all grown now. The youngest one is 26. Oldest one is 30. Their dad last summer got diagnosed with cancer. Okay, so when we as a family unit, we're talking to the kids, the way we act is going to influence them, right? Meaning, if we got on that Zoom call and we lost it and we were hysterical, what are the kids going to be? Hysterical. But if we're calm and we say things like, "Yeah, we're going to get through this. We're going to work through it," that is a much more positive experience for them than for us just to be, right? I mean, that's what we have to do as parents. We have to be resilient. Meaning, things don't go our way, do we just give up? No, we can't. Do you want your kids to think there's something doesn't go their way, they can just give up? And who are they watching? Who sets the tone and the example? And it sounds like a simple thing, right? Like simple enough, but it's not always so simple. Because you may, come across some things with your children that you never thought you were gonna have to deal with. But you learn to deal with it, and you learn to deal with it together. We can't predict everything that's gonna happen, right? It's not like we got a book in a bag that has that answer there. We try, if it fails, we try again. If that fails, we try again. If that fails, we try again, but with every failure, hopefully we learn something, right? And have to do a better job. Our kids deserve that, we deserve that. So, knowledge of parenting and child development. What does that mean to you? Jonathan, what does that mean to you? Knowledge of parenting and child development. Absolutely, and then see, and so knowledge of parenting and knowledge of child development, so it's good for us to would it be realistic for me to be upset with a 3-year-old because he didn't get his front yard mowed? No.
Maybe his little toy mower.
But that's where child development comes in, right? I can't have too high of an expectation. I have to keep my expectations relative by age. So, like I will tell y'all, that is just like you don't praise the 16-year-old because they picked a sock up on the floor, but then chastise the 2-year-old because they didn't get dark. That'd be backwards.
Oh, very backwards, yeah.
I mean, the thing is, our 2-year-olds can help us out in the house. And one thing I have learned with kids, you know what they like to do? It's new to them. They think it's thrilling to put clothes in the dryer. And they're like, that's fun. And they don't have 30 years of it. So it's still fresh. Good for them. So we got concrete support times needs, and then we have social and emotional competence. What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
I think social and emotional competence is like being aware of self and like your emotional needs, like if they have a disability or age, like having them assessed properly and not taking your biases from your past or your rules and using that as a way to cope with the issues and the children.
Very good. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, we don't know. We all know, our children, especially when you have more than one, because I could say with our 3, they may have all come from the same mom and dad, but they are 3 different beings. Right. The oldest and the youngest, I can talk to them like I'm talking to y'all right now. The middle, she's sensitive. Very, very sensitive. I can look at her and her. I mean, that's hard. And so you just don't know. I mean, because it's just like, wow, it's crazy. These 3 kids, you came from the same mom and dad, and how different they can be. But that's just part of it. You can't sit there and compare all your children together. You can't compare your children with other people's children, right? You may end up with a sensitive kid. You may end up with one where it's just like, oh my gosh, they need to have to work on them and their presentation of things. Because they're very maybe outspoken, right? They're not scared. They're gonna sit there and tell people exactly what they think, and it's like, oh, let's put a nicer bow on it, right? We don't walk around and tell straight up people. Sometimes we have to sandwich that in some compliments, right? No adult likes to be told what to do or how to act. But I do. And that's not yes. Kids love to tell everything. Especially around 4, 5, 6 years. Our grandson is 5. And I mean, my husband saw him over the weekend and he was telling every single bit, spilling on the tea, like for real. To where his mom was even like, why did you do this? Who told you that? And it's like, oh, honey, he's 5. He's telling everything. Yeah. And you know what else? And oh, you know what else? Tell Papa all about it, right? You never know what they might say. So all families need protective factors. So define, that means a characteristic that makes a parent, child, or family more likely to thrive and less likely to experience a negative outcome. Do any one of us that walk around thinking we're never gonna have any trials and tribulations in our life? No. So more than likely, we could very well need a protective factor, right? Because something doesn't go our way. Because that's one. Maybe it doesn't go our way for, for our child, but we're the ones who set the tone. And we're the ones that show our children how to be resilient. Because they can't just, if it doesn't go their way, immediately give up.
Yeah.
Okay? And with every child, we may have to take a different approach. But that's not to say we can't all get on the same page and be a very strong family unit. Because when you're adults, when we are thriving and we're doing good, guess what the kids are gonna be doing? Thriving, doing good, yeah. Is this gonna be that trickle down? Okay.
Yes.
That's so, that's not so. That's so,
Why? Why?
I thought it was good, look how it turned out.
You're good, Carrie, what are you talking about?
No, I'm saying not like they did. I'm just good in my own way,
Hey,
yeah.
don't listen to anything Carrie says, because Carrie has been a stand-out participant in this program. I would actually call him a class leader.
No.
Yeah. It's the mother. I hear that. It's true. As you know, how to describe you.
You read here, so,
He's stupid. Carrie is gonna be missed. That is no joke. So Carrie, Mamie, Brittany, and Holt all complete parenting. This is their 12th class.
I'll be back.
everybody needs.
Maybe better in a good way, right?
In a good way.
I know you be looking at them sometimes, certain things be done and said, you say, well, maybe we would have said that. And maybe, and time, man, we had fun in here.
Yes. Well, we definitely, so once they finish forward, because they finished that first, right, that's 6 weeks. Now they're finishing their parenting classes. My engagement is not done with them. I continue to follow y'all for a year.
Ooh, you Bill?
So, that means I'm still gonna be asking questions. We have things called team events. Y'all see one of those? We just had one recently. They'll still come to team events. That's just team building exercises. It's for fun. Everybody's hesitant about it. And then once they have the first one, it's just like, that was fun.
I'm so lame. When you said it, that big book, it took me, I said, what is this? It took me a second. I said, oh my God, you gotta do better.
It doesn't seem to you the trauma. It's one of the games they play. One of the games they play is the hardest game. Everybody is like traumatized by it. It's called trauma ball.
I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna lie, I came for the.
You gotta film them, you gotta film them doing it and show it to us.
Absolutely.
Thought we would be here.
Yeah. Okay, for the next group, because there's actually 4 different activities, because it's quarterly, so you'll do 4, every time you'll do something different. Okay.
I ain't gonna lie, first I came for the chicken first, right?
Yeah, I know that's right. So let's back up a little bit.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
and then,
take the floor,
and then,
tell us about it.
yeah, I came for the chick. And I always tell the man, I'm gonna get the chick. We're gonna get the chick. And I'm like, why be quiet? Over the time, ended up bonding, then I fell in love with this class.
Yeah, and the class fell in love with you.
Right.
No, we always take care.
Yeah, so
Right,
listen, y'all really
Friday,
did.
bring it open all the way up.
right.
Yeah, we love y'all.
Everyone, you're gonna get very tight, because you're around each other so much. We are 100% invested in you.
Right.
100%. Do anything we can to help you, so long as you're willing to do anything to help yourself. Right? So, because we're all grown, we're all adults, but it is amazing to watch from where I sit. It is amazing to watch the transformation. from the first day. And everybody has so much hesitation and everybody's all big-eyed. Like, they're like, I don't know about
I
this.
was trying to blow smoke on that X. I'm like, I'm trying to come with all these streets about to come over. But that's like, you know, the people be there, everything down. But you ain't going home today. Yeah, right. Now, it's a good class though.
It really is. I mean, I got a lot of certificates that helped me out a lot today.
Alright.
Especially once we get into adulthood, there's not a whole lot of scenarios where we get to have success among our peers educationally, unless we are going into college. And lots of people have hangups. They hated school. So then they get in here and it's like, oh man, I don't know. This seems a lot like school. I don't know. I mean, I gotta read. That's what everybody always says. I gotta read. I just don't like all that reading we have to do. Like, well, I mean, I get that. However, to watch the progress of where we start versus where y'all finish, to where then it's like, we can't even get rid of them if we wanted to.
No.
And I mean, we're not complaining about it. And y'all get to build each other up. Y'all get to build up successes. Y'all do things that you probably, before this, you may not thought you could have ever been attainable. And especially because completing, you get that free place at Northwest Shoals. Lots of people like, I never even considered going to college. And then
I mean, y'all just look at it this way.
That's one thing when I came here. It's the only time I got you to come here for doing good. Only thing they can tell me, well, you got this wrong. And I was pecking on my back like that. You know what I'm saying? Before just pecking on my back for like doing something right, I ain't never been like this. I get out.
right.
I get out. All I know is that. No, all I know is that.
That's what's so important to you.
But the only thing that I've been rough for, when I got here, y'all pecking on my back, you know, so now make me want to come here today.
See,
Yeah,
I know we're so proud.
right.
We are. We're so proud. Mamie, why don't you tell me about it a little bit? Your experience.
You know, I have to be honest, after about a month, maybe not, about a month, and just, tell you, let me say, I apologize, something, it was about my finances. So I can pay my rent.
Sure.
And after a period of time, I don't know, I feel that one time, and that was the first time I got here, you showed us how to do it, and I didn't do it anymore because, even though I had my struggles in life and things happen with people pulling stunts, I knew what I was dealing with anyway, but I never got a bad vibe, and I always trusted you. You did just what you said you would do. You never cheated us in any kind of way or did anything negative to harm us, and I love you and thank you for that. But it was about the money to pay my rent at the Lotus, and after a while, I didn't even think about that anymore. It just started taking care of itself. Exactly. You giving me a lot, and everything that you all give me, I trust and believe I use it.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I definitely believe that.
I do the values, the principles, how to live, how to treat other people, how to treat myself.
Yeah.
How to go and get a job.
Yes. And just building those confidences back up. They can be lost through living, right? Especially depending on how we're living and who we're spending our life with. I mean, and it can be in retrospect, retrospect's a tough one, but it's just like, dang, now in retrospect, well, we can't go backwards. And that's okay. We just move forward.
And even though I didn't have to be here, I wanted to be here. We got to have we could be
I
here.
say maybe have perfect attendance. She is only the second student. This is my third year. She is the second student in 3 years that has had perfect.
Well, thank you.
That's amazing.
No, I ain't
I
got.
wouldn't be, I'm gonna be the third, just watch. Just watch. I wouldn't be, man, I'm be right behind you. Cause I wanna be here.
I had some.
Wow. Only one other person's ever done that.
I wouldn't have perfect attendance if you should have, if I already have for the top test stuff.
Hell, I didn't care.
And that's it, yeah.
Brittany, why don't you tell me a little bit about your,
Well, when I heard Miss Jackie tell me about this program, I really wanted me and my husband to do it. Even though my husband
finish it out, I got a health issue. But hopefully we'll get that fixed soon. But honestly, I loved it because work keys was actually something that came in a year after I had left high school. So being able to actually go back and get that and not having to pay
Right.
for work keys. And then Sworn Platinum, that really boosted my confidence.
As it should, that would be a great score, and just know, the work keys, that is a nationally, like, certified accreditation that all students that are graduating from Alabama high school, they're gonna have their work keys at graduation. So here's our thing, we're gonna keep our students on point with everybody, okay? So in truth, let's say I've been working the same job for 30 years. I go to get another job, one of the requirements is work keys. Brittany comes in, she's fresh out of high school, she has no experience whatsoever, but she has her work keys. Guess who's gonna get that job over me? Her. I can't even apply for it because I don't have it. It doesn't matter how much education I may have, it doesn't matter anything. I will not be considered for the job without going and taking the work keys also.
I would say my biggest advice is stick with it, because I mean, I just got a job that pays 21, 25 an hour. Like, yeah, we both got the job. You gotta have the physical.
And then both of us got a job.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, we both got the job, so.
That's great.
But I mean, it's an amazing ride, just stick with it. I know that we had a little bit, some days where we couldn't be here, but
Well, it all worked out.
yeah, it all worked out.
It all worked out. I mean, there's a reason we have it set up the way we have it with absences and attendance and accountability and responsibility and communication. Because it's like we're mimicking the workplace, right? Because, and like I tell y'all, whenever y'all call, if y'all ever talk to me, I'll set that out from the beginning because it's like, hey, guess what? You can't get to work on time, what's gonna happen? Everybody said the same thing, lose your job. Like, yeah, so guess what? You can't get here on time, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna get dismissed. And not only are you gonna get dismissed, you're also gonna forfeit any of your earnings for that month. Because we are not going to reward poor behavior. No, we reward a good behavior.
Bad behavior is an epidemic, it spreads like wildfire. All it takes is one.
And, I mean, and here's the thing, it's like with intake, we give students 2 tries for intake. Because here's why, you can't get here at 8 o'clock, what is the likelihood I'm gonna easily have you in class 4 days a week for 6 weeks? Not very.
Not very high.
And I'm not, yeah, everybody in here's grown. You know, I mean, everybody in here is grown. We're not gonna sit here and call people and convince you to come to class. You don't wanna do it, that's fine. Cause somebody else will be happy to sit in the seat. I wonder why. I mean, and when people call, I get a whole lot of, oh, I can't. Oh, I don't think, it's just like, why can't you?
And when y'all didn't pick up when I couldn't come in that day, I was glad because I didn't want to hear that little attitude. I know
It's
she
not
was,
attitude, it's concernment.
yeah, well, I know she
It's
was gonna
holding
be the
you
only thing.
accountable.
Hey, look, I know she was gonna be the only, you can still breathe, the hell on fire, everything.
Hold people accountable.
You know what
That's
I'm
what
saying?
it is, the job holds
And I
people
know
accountable.
she probably supposed to leave me at the time. Oh, it was my fault. I couldn't come in and yell like a troll. At least she got that leave.
It was not funny.
No,
you told me that. No.
And everybody,
I thought you were BS.
I know,
He like when he first got here, he was terrible. He wanted to leave, but he
She know,
didn't.
she know, man, they quit. I wanna tell her, I don't know what they got mad and grabbed that damn topic, stormed up out of town. You don't know what you want.
I was in for it.
And then later on, it's great. Why? You know, you get that for like-
Oh. I'm gonna let y'all share, cause I don't know if I have enough. If I do, I'll.
You don't get one. Uh-oh, we got a Kerry Junior. He said, we're gonna get a pump for you.
Whoa. So basically,
Kerry used to remind us every hour.
I won't start this, and this game, he's gonna finish it, okay? So basically, every week, we're gonna hit a different topic. So, now we're gonna talk about this. When y'all hear the word discipline, what does that mean to you? When you hear the word discipline, what do you hear?
Reprobate. Reprobate.
We're punching.
Oh, reprobate.
Beating him with a stick.
Lead
pipe. PVC.
So y'all think spanking,
Ground.
whooping. What if I told you that discipline means to teach?
Fair enough.
Discipline does not mean to whoop. Okay? Discipline means to teach. So imagine if I took the sentence, that child is that child must be disciplined. They are so well behaved. Instead, what I'm saying is that child must be well taught. Because they are so well behaved.
And corrected with it when they make their mistakes.
Exactly. So all y'all think back when you were kids. How many people grew up in a household where parents are? I did. Okay, so when it came to corporal punishment of that nature, did that change your behavior?
Yeah, no, it's
That part.
I mean, truly, how many people, after a while, did you not sit there, know you're gonna get the licks, you took them, and like, it's not changing anything.
Pretty much.
So, would you say that is? Do what?
You did, I got used to, okay, if I'm gonna miss, if I'm gonna shoot my leg, if I'm gonna fuck up, and then worry about the consequences after the fact, if I even get caught doing what I'm doing. So that's the way I thought growing up.
Sure, and that's the way a lot of people, that's the way a lot of people
And
think.
then